This MMA 30 segment is powered by The Gun Store. Next time you're in Las Vegas, if you want to shoot a real machine gun, do it at The Gun Store at 2900 East Tropicana.
For me, I just want to fight the best in the world, and Mirko's one of the guys that I've always, held up there as one of the guys that feel like that's the one guy I want to fight.
Will it be harder for him to knock you out with the beer?
I have no idea. He might be able to knock me out with a kick, and that's usually up here, so it's not down here. So I'm gonna say, yeah, you could probably still knock me out. The thing about Nick is he comes 110% always to fight. So as long as he comes to fight, that's all that matters. The one thing, we're in the fight business, and as long as we fight, that's what we're in. We're not in the business of promotion. If we're in the promoter business, then we would actually own the UFC. But we don't. We're just fighters.
Do you think, though, someone like him could help sell cards and stuff because he has that kind of persona that maybe is anti what a lot of other fighters have?
The thing is, you got Pepsi and Coke. Pepsi's the new generation, and Coke's the classic.
What's he? Sunkist?
Well, no, he's the guy that does the completely opposite, but apparently we're still talking about Nick Diaz, and he doesn't even have to show up to a press conference.
Right.
So he's doing his job.
Thank you.
Just a little unorthodox. I think Mirko is probably a better fighter now on a technical aspect because he's seen so much. So he's definitely looking for that opportunity. He's a very patient guy to capitalize and to strike when he needs to. And that's the one thing that scares you when the guy has more experience. Somebody like a Randy Couture, where he didn't really make his improvements until he was in his late 30s or early 40s. It's the more experience you have, the farther you can go with, in this business. I think when fighters have that mystique, like Anderson Silva's that one of those guys definitely has a mystique. But then there's some guys like Chill doesn't have you don't have that on me, so I'm gonna fight. Well, some guys already start breaking down. Tito used to have it. Chuck Liddell used to have it. There's a lot of guys that have that mystique of like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get hit. Even Junior Dos Santos have it because nobody wants to get hit by him. They're like, oh, I gotta take him down. Like that, they're afraid to get hit, and it's. Those are the mistakes that you got to, as a fighter, evolve mentally, where you're like, I can get past this. I'm a better fighter. I'm a better athlete, and just try to push it. Like Cro Cop is still the same guy 4 or 5 years ago. He's just not the same. Doesn't have that aura around him where you're like, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me. Where you're already defeated before you even go in there, and that's where a lot of guys used to get defeated. Is as soon as you step in the octagon, they're going, if I just last, I win. And that's a moral victory, and nobody wants that.
I want to ask you about.
I think getting knocked out is a mental and a physical thing. I think sometimes when you just lights get turned out, lights just get turned out. But then there's like people like we'll say like Chuck Congo. That's a physical and then also a mental, where you push through it and you're like, man, I don't even know where I'm at, but I gotta push forward, and then boom, and then you get saved by your legs or punch or something. It happened with like Arlovsky and Tim Sylvia before. It's just mentally you just got to push through it versus going. Sometimes when you're mentally weak, you just kind of lights just go out versus that. Oh, I got to keep going. The only time I've ever where I'm like, oh that old like, oh my crap, was Junior Dos Santos hit me with an uppercut, and I was like, man, that sucked. I don't want to get hit with those no more. But after that, I evolved and never got hit with an uppercut again. So, like with the junior fight, I said that was if that was my championship fight, that was like, I thought, back then he was, that was going to be the championship fight. If I had 2 more rounds, I think it might have been a different story, because I felt like the pressure I was getting to him, breaking him, and from the first round where I got hit, and then slowly, I felt the swing shift was swift changing. With Frank fight, it was just I thought my 60% was going to be enough to beat Frank, and I was sorely mistaken on that one. The one thing is, I got sick at the Toronto Expo, and then I didn't want to take any antibiotics because that really messes with your cardio. And apparently, I just felt from a business standpoint, like I haven't worked for 10 months, and that I had. I just felt my 60% was still going to be enough to still get a W. I've heard a lot of things from Dana. I've heard a lot of things on the internet from, like harsh words. I mean, it's part of the being a celebrity. I guess everybody wants to talk about your weight or talk about who you're screwing or how much money you made. Those are the three things that everybody wants to talk about. And I just know I'm a celebrity now.
And your beard.
And my beard. It's the way you look, too.
This MMA 30 segment is powered by The Gun Store. Next time you're in Las Vegas, if you want to shoot a real machine gun, do it at The Gun Store at 2900 East Tropicana.